move. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said you're up and I'm up. Y'all now tuned in to the Grind Hard Dream Big show. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, my name is Lemonade Dream, and I'm a poet.
Okay, so poetry. What does poetry mean to you?
Poetry is a form of expression, and it's also a form of art. It's a way that you can let out your feelings, and if you're not comfortable with other people hearing it, you can always let yourself hear it, and that's important to me.
For sure. Okay, so like when did you dive into poetry?
I feel like I was already into poetry at some point last year, but I really got into poetry a little bit afterwards when I was with one of my favorite poets, Miss Pioneer, and she had told me something along the lines of, I can't wait to see your future, and that meant something to me. So I really wanted to be able to live and have this future so that I can really live in my truth, I guess.
That's all right. So like, I guess with poetry and like you finding it, like how did you know it was that moment that you like arrived with it? Or like what was that first moment where you're like, all right, bet I wrote my first poem, I performed it, I'm a poet, like I'm here?
I feel like that was what it was, because when you're not on stage, the thought of the stage can really keep you away from it, if that makes sense. Like I was terrified, but getting onto the stage made it so that the next time I got on the stage, it wasn't as scary. It wasn't that much fear behind it, even though I do still have stage fright now.
Okay. So like with stage fright and stuff like that, like what did your practice look like? Because I know like sometimes, you know, people just write poetry and they're like, oh yeah, this is a dope piece or something like that. Like how was the preparation process with that?
Well, when I make poetry, I can just write it, but when it comes to practicing, I've tried many different ways. Like, should I be in the mirror? Should I use an app called Period? And I'm just like repeating my poem to myself to memorize. But like, I feel like it all depends on the person, and me personally, I have to repeat my poems to get that line in my head. So even going on stage and saying a poem multiple times, that can get me to the point where I want to be.
For sure. So like, did you have any other hobbies outside of the poetry that kind of like helped you with it, or?
I'm a literature person. I like reading, I like writing, so poetry came into the writing, came into the poetry came into the writing. I also like watching YouTube and stuff. I like listening to skincare routines and stuff like that, so yeah.
That's what's up. I know it's a whole a whole nother digital age now. You say YouTube, like I remember like back then, like YouTube was kind of new back then because, you know, I'm older, but it's okay and stuff like that. So like with reading and writing, it's kind of fair to say that like reading was your favorite subject in school?
Yeah, I definitely, even if I didn't always understand certain like topics, I'll always be like super happy to do like a writing project. I love writing. I love ELA, English language arts. These have always been my little things.
Nah, that's what's up. I love reading too. I think reading and writing is like my thing too. So like we got something in common. That's all right for sure. So I guess like throughout it, like what's the response been for you in the poetry space and like everything that you're doing? Like what is the response been?
I mean, it depends, because at different events you have different audiences, and some audiences you gotta, hey, I'm a poet, we clap if you like some, like you gotta get them hyped up. But like other audiences, like if I'm going to like Busboys and Poets, Dope and Classy, stuff like that, I'll know that they know if they like something, they can and all those other noises they say to do.
For sure, it'll be like the snaps. And be like, yeah, okay, cool, you like that? Clap it up. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, when did you know that, okay, everything that I'm doing, like I got everything like set up, I'm moving now, it's like, it's legit now. Like everything now is just like serious. It's no longer like, no more playing around. Like what was that moment for you?
I feel like somewhere along the lines, it was like, this isn't just like a little fun thing I do here and there. It was like, this is something I see in my future. This is something I actually want to do. This isn't just something I'm going to get on the mic, go ahead, get off the mic. You know what I'm saying? It was at some point during performing that I was just like, this is something that I don't want to just do here and there. I actually want this for my life.
Okay, so like I guess the topics and the subject matter around like your poetry, what do you find yourself like writing about a lot?
Definitely mental health. I feel like even if I'm like writing about like insecurities, anxiety, like I'm going through different types of things that people struggle with throughout life. So it's just not like, it's a lot of, I guess, serious stuff in comparison to like other poems that I've made for like my birthday and stuff. Like I've had other poems like that, but like I'm mostly talking about like serious topics and like letting people know that just because you're going through it doesn't mean that you're alone. So like other people are also going through these things, and that means you have people you can talk to, or you can have like an outlet like such as poetry to talk to.
Nah, for sure. I'm about to say, you dropping bars right now. Like, okay, because like mental health, I think is a definitely a big thing, right? And I think that it was something that was always here, but I know like after the pandemic and stuff like that, like it kind of was revealed to us in a bigger space, right, or a bigger light. So like with mental health, like why did you think that that was important for you to, you know, like address in your art?
I feel like a lot of people are like, you're so young, you don't know anything about this, but I feel like mental health is something like, even if I'm not going through things like certain, like it's a part in one of my poems I'm talking about like cellulite and stuff. I personally don't have cellulite, but I know people that struggle with cellulite and like insecurities over it. They're like seriously struggling with it, and I want them to know that you're not like alone. There's other people in this world that are going through these things, and you don't have to just like hate yourself, beat yourself up over it. It's like, it's okay, you can get through it, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. No, absolutely. So like I guess like, you know, at your age, right, and everything like that, like how do you navigate through like the social media? Because like social media is like a whole nother ball game within itself. So like when you're on social media, what's your approach?
I feel like social media is definitely like important, and I feel like, I'm not saying you need social media, but it's definitely really helpful. It's a helpful platform, and all the different platforms are definitely really helpful in life, because when you're trying to be a person that's like an influencer, or if you're just a creative and you want people to find out about you, social media, that will be your plug. And so like that's definitely important. Like if people are reposting and stuff like that, they can go ahead and help me with that. I can find more people to come out to my shows, and it's not just about the people coming to my shows, it's also about the people getting to hear it too. Even if it's not something you can agree with, it's something that's like it's a realization moment listening to it, I feel like.
For sure. No, absolutely. I think that social media, you know, has like its pros and its cons, right? Because like you said, like if you want to get yourself out there, you put the content out there. But then it's like sometimes, okay, bet I'm on social media, and then like I'm just scrolling, looking at everybody else, getting distracted easily. So like with you navigating through it, you know, putting, you know, your brand out there, your art out there and stuff like that, you navigating through it, like it sounds like it's just been very, very successful for you in that. So like, are you more of a, I like to be on social media, or like face to face? Like how do you really feel like you navigate, you know, throughout your business, or you use both?
Yeah, I feel like in person is very important, because in person you can truly know who you're talking to, but I feel like also online can be important, because that way you're like, oh, I see what I'm seeing and I like what I see online maybe, and the in-person is just like a boost up. I feel like it really lets you see the true person. So like even if I'm saying something online, you can hear it, but in person you can feel it, I feel like.
I like that. For sure. So like for the person that don't know how to like write poetry, and they're like, oh yeah, you know what, bet I want to be a poet, like I'm really trying to get into this, like what would be some advice you would give that person that, you know, would want to be a poet, you know, to like start? If they're like, oh, you know what, I've been sitting on this forever, but I don't know how to go about it.
If you got a journal sitting in your house, I would definitely recommend you go ahead, go through that journal, go through whatever thoughts you've been having, go through, make a brain dump, like just go into your brain almost, and just like really know what you've been feeling, really know what you want to do. And I feel like people, like poetry is a large world. It's like its own planet, and I feel like in that situation you have to figure out who you are, and that means making poetry, writing, and all this stuff. Like, it's not just like, oh, I want to be a poet, I'm gonna write something. It's write something so that you can figure out who you are, how you write, and stuff like that. So if you dig what I'm saying.
Okay. Nah, that's definitely big. I think you dropping bars, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying it because, like, some people don't really know how to go about these things, and it feels like, okay, because you don't know how to go about it, like, I'm never gonna start. So, like, I know, like, me personally, like, rapping, like, it was a cool thing to do, and some people will be like, oh, it's so poetic in a sense, but I feel like, you know, just like spoken word rap, whatever like that, you do, you know, it's just like, nah, don't play with my art, like, nah, this me for real. So, you know, I hear the conviction in your voice, I hear the passion in your voice, and I would just definitely say, like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. So I guess, like, what you see in, like, community now, and, like, you know, you going out performing and doing your thing, like, what is it that you feel like is so receptive for you in the area? Like, how do you feel like people gravitate to you the most?
I think it's definitely, like, not my style of writing, but what I write about. Because people are always like, why is she writing about this at this age? Like, it'd be like, I made this one domestic violence piece, and people are like, you never been through this. But the people that have been through this, they have a way to almost, you know, understand what they've been through, like, see almost into the past, I guess. But, like, I'm not saying everybody's situation is the same. I'm simply saying that it's important to write about things that people can't always write about themselves.
Okay. So in addition to the poetry, you're also an author, right?
In the making.
In the making, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's loading.
It's loading.
Yes.
Okay. So what made you want to pursue that?
I actually had I was a 8th grader. I'm now going into my freshman year in high school.
Okay. No more middle school? Okay.
No more middle school.
Okay.
But I was trying to enter a school, and one of the schools was a selective school, and you had to make a short story. The short story ended up being a book because I extended it, because it was like this has to be not just a short story, it has to be like longer than short. So I had to do a lot of that. Also, I've been making poems, and my mom had bought me some poetry books for Christmas, I think 2020, 2021, I don't remember. But she had bought me some poetry books, and that was really the beginning of it, because I was like, oh, books and poetry, and I like really like was able to see it, and I was like, I like this. I have poetry, I could make a book. So I was just like, put this onto like something so I could do something with that.
Nah, shout outs to mom for sure, because like I feel like, you know, that's the beautiful part too, like investing into the dream and seeing the potential and unlocking it, because I feel like that's what, you know, a lot of y'all have, like the youth, like y'all got all these ideas, so it's like if we know these ideas and how we can help, it's just like, okay, let's go ahead and be a farmer and just plant the seed, like, all right, let's just try and help. So with this, you know, space, I feel like you're gonna be a phenomenal author. I feel like you're already a phenomenal poet, you know, very outspoken, definitely have persona, you know, because at first I'm like, hold up, you know, you're a little nervous at first, but now it's like, it's just opening up. So I guess, what is something that you would have told, I know you're young, but like, what is something that you would have told like your younger self before all of this?
It's going to be okay, because I feel like becoming a teenager, I feel like everybody was like always just telling me like, you're gonna be a teen and life's gonna be different. I was like, I'm gonna be the same person, nothing's gonna change. But becoming a teen definitely brought a lot of change into my life. I feel like it was not scary to become a teenager. I was like, oh, I'm about to be 13, I'm gonna be a teenager, I'm all excited. But I'm like, being a teenager is where the change is happening, and it's just like I'm learning. I have way more emotions than I ever thought I had, and stuff like that. Life definitely changed for me a lot, and I just want to tell my younger self that this change will come, but it's not going to be the end of the world, because I was scared of change, but it's not going to be the end.
That's solid. I like that. I think I told my younger self kind of the same thing, but also like just to have more patience. Like, yo, you don't gotta be in a rush to do all these things. Like, just take your time and you're gonna be all right. Like, God got you. Don't worry about it. Like, don't stress, don't trip. So I guess like, did you have like a favorite movie, like that you like always like to watch, or anything like that? Like a favorite, like a go-to for yourself. Like, what's a day in the life, in a sense, for you?
Day in the life can be very different, but my current favorite movie, and it's been my favorite movie for I think a year or two, is Titanic. I like that movie a lot. It's like such a beautiful movie. Even though it's older than me, it's still a really good movie. Oldie but goodie, I think that's what people say.
Yeah.
But yeah, normal day in my life is not exactly normal. I don't really have a everyday thing, but usually I do my skincare and all that stuff, and before I leave, maybe I'm going to an open mic event, maybe I'm going to a podcast, maybe I'm about to go to my office to do a podcast, stuff like that. And it's just different every day. Or maybe I'm, just watching YouTube. So
It sound like you educating yourself and just giving big CEO. That's what it's really giving, to be honest with you. You said office. I'm like, oh wait, office. Woo. Stepping into those things. Like, now you're gonna just sit there and have those corporate meetings and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just manifesting, because I feel like, affirmation is a big thing. So that's definitely dope. I think that, days in the life look different. I like to work out. I like to, YouTube, watch Netflix here and there. I'll probably watch old shows like All American and stuff like that. But yeah. So, any advice that you would want to give to like the person that wants to like chase their dream, their goal, or whatever they want to accomplish? Like,
look, Nike, I'm gonna have to steal your quote. Just do it, because I feel like if you have something you want to do it. If it's not illegal, just do it, because it's definitely like a lot of people, like even me, I was scared to get on stage. I got on stage and I got more comfortable over time, and I feel like that's what holds people back. Like, it'll be like, people be like, oh, I want to go do this, I want to do this. And even if you can make the whole plan, but to start it is what can hold you back, because you're scared to start. You're scared of maybe what people will think, maybe if it's not good enough for somebody else's taste. Just start it and you'll grow from there. And that's really what matters, is the growth and starting.
For sure. I think it's like, regardless if your crayon is broken, still color, for real, and it's just like still find a way to move. Like, your idea is not, you're not lame. It's not, it's not gonna, flop or whatever like that. You just gotta have that belief in yourself and stuff like that. Well, like I said, I appreciate this conversation. You taught me something. You motivated me a little bit more. So how can people, follow you, support you? The floor is yours.
Well, my name is Lemonade Dream, as I said in the beginning, but it actually happens to be Lemonade_Dream on all social platforms. If you enjoyed this and you want to follow me. I'm a poet, I'm a creative, and yeah.
That's cool. So I'm assuming that lemonade is like one of your favorite drinks too, because you just said Lemonade Dream. So
Sprite.
Okay.
But I definitely do love a good lemonade. So
okay. Yeah. So like, for everybody that's watching, I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. And always remember, the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. And we out.